No, it's just
no,
the door shutting.
Opens the door. It's all going to get caught.
We're fucking
So
rolling.
we'll have to pause slightly.
All right, cool. We're about to start.
All right, cool. About to start. Ready? 1, 2, 3, action.
What's up, YouTube? I'm just
He's got a great personality.
Yo, my
for it.
space.
All right, I'm going to let Don do the intro. Like, just do it. All right, ready?
What's up, YouTube?
Not
Hey.
right now. You
No,
gotta,
no,
we gotta
no,
do a
no.
pause,
Okay.
okay?
You gotta
Okay.
do it the way you did the first time.
Yeah, do it exactly like that.
Okay. What's up, YouTube? Back with another video, episode 2, SalesEther. Robert, thank you for having us. We have 2 of us that have been here for the first episode. Now introducing Victor too. We are all in the sales business. We're gonna be talking about a couple things, right, Robert? We're
Yeah.
gonna be talking about
So if you watched the last episode, we talked about the importance of working commission versus hourly. And I forgot to hit record. I didn't forget to hit record this time, so we're good to go. So this episode, we're just going to go over getting walk-ups, basically getting in front of customers, what to do before getting in front of customers, and kind of the mindset you need to have for that. So again, last time, if you missed that episode, I'll post the link somewhere, and then watch that first, and then watch this one. So this is like very introductory. You're brand new to the sales world. You're just trying to figure out, hey, I need to get in front of some people, and like some things that you're going to like feel as you see a customer for the first time. But first, let's talk about like whenever you start the day, right? Like, what is your mindset going to be as soon as you get to work? It's time to find a customer, because the only way you're going to sell a car is getting in front of a customer, right? Let's go with Don. What is like your first thing you do when you get to work?
when I get to work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. If I haven't had a coffee yet, I'm usually gonna get a coffee. I used to walk the lot all the time. I've got very bad at it now, because I feel like I make excuses because our lot is so big at the spot that at least I'm at. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, a good routine is always good. You want to go in, you want to plan your day out. If you got appointments, you want to make sure they're still coming in. But I think I have a bad example of what my first 30 minutes look like, but I'm just trying to get in front of somebody. You know, I like to call it like hunting, right? I'm constantly hunting, right? I don't like to just sit and wait for my opportunity to just fall in my lap. Like, I want to go find it.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it, and that's how I always thought about it too. Like, you got to imagine the dealership you're working at is just like a forest, right? Whatever dealership you work at is its own forest, and you're like a creature, you're an animal. The walk-ups are
dogs.
basically like, you know what I mean? Like,
hunt 'em.
they're
Prey.
animals. There's different types, right? There's different type of people who come into a dealership. There's different types of animals that walk around the forest and stuff. Like, you got to figure out and target, you know, which ones you can attack the easiest, which ones you can take down. Because in the sales environment, it's like, you eat what you kill. And the biggest.
So do you look at it like picking and choosing?
That's a weak. I think that's
a weak mentality.
Because like,
Take them all.
imagine a McDonald's drive-through, right? If somebody comes to the McDonald's drive-through and goes to the window and they go, I don't want nothing. It's that's kind of how I picture like people that come to the dealership there. I always feel like they are there to buy. Now, some of them require way more work. That's definitely true. But like, I don't like to judge people off the bat. And I know that's not really what you're saying, but I do know a lot of people that definitely just like pick and choose of what somebody's look like. Dude, they could come in the most raggedy POS, old, broken down Tundra. Like, in my eyes, I'm like, that's the best one, you know. But what are y'all thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
as far as routine in the morning, like as soon as I get there, I like to see what I have available. What's the inventory? Do I have anything that's coming in for my customers? Any leads from the previous days? Anything? Is there any matching inventory? So sit down at the computer, log in, see what's on the ground, see what customers I didn't sell to, see what customers I can call that day, and I focus on the people who really want to buy a car in the next couple of days. Focus on those people, knock people out, and then just know what's on the ground and available. That's doing a lock walk or logging in, see what's on the website, and then just being available. So as soon as I get there, I try to get someone 9, 10 o'clock. If you get someone in the morning, that's almost a guaranteed 2 car day.
Yeah.
So
I
staying
think
available.
too, I want to add to that, because like, if I'm running a little bit late and I haven't had a coffee, I'm still hungry because I skipped breakfast. And Jacob's the guy that shows up either 10, 15 minutes early, ready to go, fed, got a little caffeine in him, and he's already hunting. He's already beat me, right? I've already lost for the first hour because he's already hunting, maybe already scouted a customer, maybe he's got a prospect that he's sitting down doing a meet and greet with and a needs assessment with. So I think if you can, I think obviously getting there early is like one of the best things you can do.
Victor, when you're in sales?
You can get there early and waste your time doing it. You know, it's not just about getting there early. It's about getting there early
and being productive.
And being
Yeah,
productive.
right.
You know,
no, that's true.
And I haven't been on the sales floor for probably a good year. I'll probably say 2 years because I was in internet sales. And my recollection of where I work now is, early bird gets the worm if you know what to do, if you plan it out. And sometimes it's a hit or miss. It sucks to say it. Sometimes it can be luck. Screw it. Sometimes you get that early customer that is just there to waste your time, but it's a numbers game, and we've all heard that. It's the more you take, screw it, the more opportunities you'll get.
Yeah, so like in an ideal world when we're at our very best, not like on a morning we're like, I'm just trying to, it's easy to go with the flow sometimes, right? But I'll just, ideally for the listeners, if you're brand new to a dealership, you really want to make a good first impression. You need to smash your first month. You know what I mean? It's not like, you got bills to pay, you're 20K in debt, you quit your job like a month ago, you have no idea what's going on. Right. What you're going to have to do is kind of look at it how we're describing earlier, like the dealership's your forest or whatever. You got to decide, okay, what kind of animal am I going to be? I'm going to be like a little prairie dog, or I'm going to be like a tiger, a leopard. Do you want to be like Victor, like a hippo? You got to figure out what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like
hippos are the most aggressive freaking animals.
Yeah, they're dangerous on fish, bro.
Okay.
Like if you're on this podcast,
it was a compliment, man.
Listen, if you're on this podcast, you're a beast. You know what I mean? You're one of the few who are like dangerous in the jungle. So that being said, obviously, best case scenario, you bring your lunch with you. You don't, waste an hour of the day.
I think the key is just be available and be there, because it is a numbers game, right? So the more you're there, the more you're available, whether that's being there 10 minutes early, 10 minutes late, an hour early, hour late. The more you're there, the more chances you have to talk to somebody.
Roll the dice.
And even if you're not that great at sales, if you're just there more often and you're talking to more people, your percentage goes up. Maybe not your ratio goes up, but the amount of sales goes up because you're just there talking to more people,
Yeah, so definitely you're just going to want to be there early as possible. You don't have to get there 30 minutes early. That would be a good thing to do, because what I see a lot of people do is we get to work, then we go get our energy drinks, and then we go to the computer, check out the inventory, see what's available, then do a walk. But imagine you got there 30 minutes early, you walked a lot to see what arrived that night, then you went inside, logged into the computer, check to see what's available, print it out or whatever, take a picture of it, so you have it on your phone. So that way, after the morning meeting or after, the bell starts, however it works, wherever you're at, you can just immediately be ready and be directly on up front. So another thing we have to kind of go over is every dealership's a little bit different as far as taking walk-ups. Some dealerships will...
It's free game.
Some dealerships is free game. Whoever's up front, whoever was standing in front, there's just a system that goes, right? If Victor was there standing up front first, and I'm standing around him, I'm going to let him take the first walk up. Some dealerships, have a system to where you have to take a turn, basically. So you're in certain positions, and then when it's your position one, you'll be able to take your walk up. So for the two different dealerships, there's two different set of rules. So for a dealership that it's free for all, obviously you're going to give that respect to Victor. If he sees someone pulls in and they're walking out, and he's obviously looking at them, I'm going to let them take the walk up, obviously. But in a dog-eat-dog world where, you're starving, if Victor hesitates at all or like kind of just gives this appearance like he doesn't want to, or hides behind the truck or whatever the scenario is, you'll see some sales guys are just super weak, and they almost want to avoid contact with customers.
They want an excuse not to talk to them, and you see it in their eyes and their body language. If you see that, go take
dog,
get them.
Yeah, don't hesitate at all. If you see any hesitation with any of the people up front, just go straight for it.
I've literally sprinted towards the customer before.
Yeah,
they didn't see, like they were looking at something, and I see another salesperson, and I took off. Like I want it more than you, bro.
And then in the case where you are at a facility where you have to wait your turn, basically, then the game changes. Then you're on next up, and you're trying to be on rotation as much as possible. So if you're in a dealership where you have to wait your turn, the only way to win the game is getting the ball in your hands as much as possible. The only way to get the ball is to be position one. So you're going to constantly be on cycle to get on number one. Some people don't get that either. Some people just like...
Yeah, I think with that is like optimizing time, right? So if there's a list system you have or a rotation system, like optimize that, because if there's 30 people on that list and you're at position 30 just waiting to be number one, you're wasting your time. You can do other stuff. So like for me, as soon as I have someone in the box, I'll hop back on that list. So I'm not just waiting to have a customer finish it off and then hop back on the list. Like you got to optimize that time. And if you're not 1, 2, or 3, you should be doing other stuff until you get to that position. So like I'm actively hopping back on the list as soon as I get a customer. If the list is long.
So I think people that are unfamiliar with what a position type stuff that we're talking about, like some dealerships, obviously you have customers that come to the dealership. Some dealerships it's free game. Whoever talks to them first, that's your customer. Other dealerships, it's a rotation-based system, so you get on this list that we're talking about, and sometimes, depending on your spot that you're at, everything is brought to position 1. They're the ones that get fed.
I mean, right? And even if you follow the rules as much as you can, if you see that person that's supposed to get that opportunity, if you see them not give a you take that that position.
Way to go, man. Now we got to censor that.
No, it doesn't matter.
Oh, my bad. Not give an F. So I've had instances where, I'm not position 1, I'm position 3. And I see that the customer is being ignored by that position. So there are opportunities for you to.
I mean, dude, they're just sleep waiting for something to happen in their lap.
Yeah.
I'll be on the list, but I'm like, I rarely, like, even when I'm on the list, I'm not just sitting there.
Yep.
Like,
Yes.
Sometimes I won't even be on the list, and I'll just be scouting and I'll grab somebody because they're just sitting there BSing. Like,
we've all done this before. If you're up front and you're there to get a walk up, you have to be actively engaged. I'm here to get a walk up. Get off my phone. Don't be looking at Instagram. Don't be looking at this and that.
Yeah.
You'll see people like if you're watching on YouTube right now, you're like they're just like this on the phone, just like looking down their phone.
But I think this works for dealerships that have a larger clientele. Like a lot of dealerships, they don't have walk-ins like this. So standing outside when they only have 10, 20, 30 cars, like they may not do anything. But for us, at least the dealership that I'm at, the dealership's so big that you have so much fresh ups walking around all the time. For those of you that don't know, fresh up is a brand new customer that just arrived. But I think if you're at a smaller dealership, and this is just what I'm thinking, let me know what you guys thoughts on this. Like if you're at a smaller dealership, I think really where your money's at, instead of going to the fresh ups, I think is definitely the phones. I mean,
so it's a mixture. And I'll speak because
right.
I've been at a smaller dealership. I was like top 100 sales consultants for Dodge Jeep Ram in Texas. Yeah. So, and that dealership on the new car side, they sold anywhere from 100 to 130 cars a month. That was what they for the whole month, and we had like 10 sales guys. 10 to 14. So I was a straight walk-up guy and always have been, still am. So walk-ups definitely are still prime, even at a smaller dealership. It's even more so if other salespeople aren't about walk-ups, if they're not up front. So in a situation where you're at a small dealership, you notice that there's not a lot of salespeople up front. That's like your bread and butter. That's the easiest way to get ahead of everyone else. Phone-ups are definitely something that I didn't learn until later on to get a hold of. Because sometimes dealerships will control who that goes to. So there's a little cherry picking going on there of like handing out the phone calls to certain sales guys that they like. You can't do anything about that.
Right.
Yeah. But at a small dealership,
you can be the favorite.
Yeah, you can for sure. We'll have to do a whole episode on how to butter up to managers.
I think one rule of thumb for me is that I do what others aren't doing, right? So if everyone's on the phones, I'm not going to be on the phones. If everyone's outside, I'm not going to be outside. I want to optimize my contacts with people. So I'm going to do what has the highest chance of making contact. Sometimes it's being outside and sometimes it's being on the phone. Sometimes it's just calling your own leads. But I don't want to be doing something that everyone else is doing and just hoping that I can get a shot in that little small gap. I want to maximize that opportunity by doing things that others aren't doing.
Mm-hmm.
And to what Jacob said earlier, I think he said something like, whenever you are done with the deal or you're halfway done with the deal, just put yourself back on the list. That's super easy. Mm-hmm. Which if you're in the situation where you have to wait, you're on a certain list. Like I'd be midway through the deal. If there's 30 people on the list, I'm just gonna put myself on the list if I'm like halfway done because I'll know by the time it wraps up, as soon as they go into finance, And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just thinking like you got to stay hungry because a lot of people like. For me, I have a goal. It's 1 car a day. If I can get 1 car a day, that's awesome. And it's easy to sell that car early and be like, all right, I'm done. But like if it's 11, 12 o'clock, like you have an opportunity to get another 1 or maybe 2 deals. Yeah. The most cars that I've sold on a Saturday was 3, but I know people that have done way more than that. Yeah. Yeah. So you can do 5 in one day. You can do literally, depending on how good you are and how how optimized you can make your time. Like you can sell a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't settle. Just 'cause you sell one car, oh, I made it, car for the day. No, don't like keep going, keep being hungry.
So I mean, I'm sure you've heard this before. The best time to sell a car is
Right after you sold
the
Yeah.
first one. It's like the energy kind of goes. I don't know. It's crazy
It's
how
the car gods.
sales-
it's the car
blessing
gods.
us.
Sales
Yeah.
almost come and go in waves, right? One week it might be just super dry, can't sell anything. Then the next week it's flowing and going.
Right.
So when it's flowing and going, you just gotta keep the rhythm up. You gotta get back on next up, get back in front of another person, do whatever you can to get back into the situation where the ball's in your hand again.
yeah.
Do we want to talk about like do's and don'ts on what to do and what not to do? I guess when when you first meet a customer, and like what your goal should be.
So we're gonna kind of go over the first initial meeting of a customer, right? So like you're just standing there, it's your turn. A customer walks up, right? They park, they pull in. There's gonna be like different types of customers. Everyone has a protocol, right? Every dealership has a different protocol. You say hi, bring you in, etc. They all have their own little thing they got going on. But I'm talking about just very first impressions. What you have to first think, why is the customer here for, right? So the customer's there to buy a car, right? Or
Right.
look at one or compare cars, or they just want to look at a Toyota before they buy a Ford, or, there's an objective there. So you got to keep that in mind from the very first, the second you see them pull up, all right, this person's here for something. My goal is to help them with that or figure it out and then hopefully sell them a car. That's the objective, right? We'll definitely go over some what not to do. And so, do you have a good what not to do that you want to list off?
whenever
I can
when
name
somebody
like
like you first see customer there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what not to do is obviously ignore them, because we were just talked about people walking behind the car, just like getting on their phone, just because
If
of
you
a certain.
ignore them, you need this business not.
No,
for
and,
you.
and then
Yeah.
going back to what y'all said earlier, salespeople are known to categorize customers based on experience, based on what other people have told them about it. And we can name a whole bunch of, a list of why people do that. But yeah, don't ignore a customer. Like whatever it is, face it head on. It's another opportunity. So yeah, don't ignore the customer.
Don't be no bitch. Bleep that out.
So what I'll say is, for my don't do that I see all the time, is don't qualify the customer within the first 2 seconds of meeting them.
Right. Yeah.
Don't qualify them right off the bat. Some people will do it. They'll just, as soon as the customer goes, oh, what are you here looking for? RAV4 hybrid, one of the plug-in ones. Oh, okay. Well, we don't have any of those. So what do you want to do now? You know what I mean? Like, do not shut them down within the first 3 seconds of meeting them.
Right.
There's still a lot you can do. You don't know, like, talent-wise, you could...
Because you're going to flip them to something else.
Yeah, you could flip them to something else. You can convince them not to wait. You can show them something that's very close to. Maybe there's a pre-owned one. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't qualify the customer within the first 3 seconds of meeting them. You need to bring them inside and slow it down a little bit, get to know them. You got to break down their barriers. And then again, you're trying to figure out, okay, why does he want a plug-in hybrid? Why is that important to him?
Right.
Not just,
Right.
oh, we don't have that.
So like everybody has their own like first type of thing that they say, right? You here to see someone today or whatever, right? And I know the by the book one is, hey guys, welcome into your whatever your store name is. Are you guys here for the big sale or what is it?
There's a couple of them.
What am I talking about?
Is that, hey guys,
You here for the big sale?
are you here to see somebody, or are you here for the big sale?
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what it is. So I used to do that. Like I don't do it anymore because I feel like it's corny.
Hey,
But-
corny sells. You got to know
Dude,
that.
I had
Corny
this customer.
sells.
And I was like,
actively
hey, you here for the
anti-corny.
big sale?
Yeah.
Or are you here to see somebody? No, I don't. I'm not here to see anybody. We walk in. She looks around. She goes, oh my gosh, you guys are having a big sale. I was like, let's go.
Let's go.
Like, so it's like, I think it depends to like what you got to read your customer, right?
Yeah,
Which I think we're going to talk about more about like reading customers and body language and stuff.
Going back to what Robert's saying, what's the percentage that we know customers change their mind? Is it
100% when they talk to me.
Let's go.
So statistically, it's like 60% of customers don't buy what they came in to look for. Am I right? You've
Is
heard
that real?
I never looked it up.
Yeah.
Is that a real statistic?
That's a real
Could be.
statistic.
I know on average, a customer might go to 2.5.
I would even say
dealerships
it's a
before
little
they buy
higher
one.
than that.
It might be
with-
65, 70, but it's still a lot. It's more than
Yeah.
you think.
Yeah.
More than
So
you think.
going
for sure.
back to like, don't categorize, or what was that word you said?
Don't judge
Qualify.
off the bat.
Don't
yeah.
qualify
Qualify.
somebody, because they're gonna buy something else.
I mean, at one point you are going to qualify them, but I'm saying don't do it within the first 5 seconds of meeting them. That will come off as, all right, this guy's trying to pick me apart within 2 seconds of meeting me.
Right.
And so what you got to think, a customer going in to buy a vehicle or look at a vehicle, they don't want to be at a dealership. No one wants to go car shopping. Everyone hates that. So at every point, you're trying to avoid chaos at all points.
Right. You
want to make everything cool, smooth. So don't just start getting combative with the customer right off the bat. What about you, Jacob?
Yeah, I think step one is just build rapport, right? Like I say, hey, have y'all been helped yet? Cool, awesome. My name's Jacob. How can I help you? Like that's just it. Whether they're to buy a car or look, I'm not going to try to force them on a sale. The first, I would say 5 to 10 minutes of me talking to them is just building rapport. And then once rapport is built and their defenses are down, I become kind of their friend. Then I start asking, hey, what's the goal today? What are you trying to do? What are you looking for?
Yeah,
and that's when we get to the needs assessment. But so many people jump into selling them a car. And then you have this needy energy of like, hey, what do you want, a hybrid? You want a RAV4? You want a Tacoma? You want this? They're like, yeah, I'm just looking, man.
Yeah, you don't want the customer to feel like, oh, this guy's just trying to figure out if I'm wasting his time or not. That's the number one thing not to do. Do you have any other what not to do's?
Yeah, don't be needy. So build rapport, don't be needy, and then find out their why. You know, why are they there? Why do they want that car? What do they want? And why do they want it? People ask what they want, but they don't ask why they want that. And that's a big thing because that's the difference saying, oh, I want a Tundra versus, but why do you want a Tundra? That needs
what I usually say, I usually be like, so is it just about time to upgrade? And I'll just leave it like that. And usually they'll kind of explain, yeah, about time to upgrade. My car is, 200,000 miles, whatever. Oh, I just got in an accident versus like, just saying, hey, why do you want to buy a car? Because they might not even want to buy yet,
Yeah. One thing I kind of want to go over before we start delving more into like what to do after that is just the different kind of customers that you guys noticed. Because when you sell so many cars, you sell like over 500, 600 cars, you notice like the same customer over and over and over and over again. So I'll say one type of customer that I've noticed is you'll see them get out of their car and then it's just like a very slow, awkward walk. You know what I mean? They're just like, I'm really about to do this right now. But those are actually the ones you want. So just keep that in mind. Notice that if you see someone walking up very slow and kind of methodically and like there's a hesitation there, it's because they're like, insecure with themselves, like, man, I know I'm about to buy something if I see something. So keep an eye out for that type of customer. What do you got a type in mind that comes to mind?
Well, I'll tell you what. I remember one time I had a customer get out of their car. I was obviously first up on position, and then he goes like this. He grabs his finger and does this, and I'm like, oh, this is not what I want to do. It's a Saturday too, so I'm like, say hi, and he's like,
what do you do?
And then he does this. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes sir. So I go in there. I was like, yes sir. He's like, do you want to sell a car today or not? Those are the people you don't want. Okay, I know where.
Hey, I'll take them too.
It's a 50-50 with those guys. They said they can be a measurable time.
You want to sell a car? I don't know, sir. Do you want to buy one? Yeah, he's just a smart ass.
Wants to sell a car today.
So I mean, it's not what you're looking for, but it's not what you want to look for. So
yeah.
The guy that walks in. Who wants to buy a car today?
Oh, the guy with the clipboard. The guy with the clipboard and the measuring tape.
Yeah.
Trying to measure the dimensions of their garage and trying to see if it fits. I mean, those are always nice. Yeah.
That's funny.
What about you? You got any? You might not have it.
Are we talking about like just different types of
have you noticed a type of
bat?
customer off Jump Street, just as soon as they get out of their car or something?
I mean, one of my pet peeves is the customer that just won't come inside.
Or that get out.
Because before I die, I will die on that lot before I walk around with my phone trying to scroll on internet prices. Because if you're out in the lot with a customer and they don't want to come inside, I mean, you have to get them inside, because out of the 2 years that I've been selling cars, I've had one customer buy a car that we were just out looking and saw one. It's just like, at least for me, my percentage is very low for customers that are just walking out in the lot, right? And so obviously, like, we know how to handle that, right? Hey, I completely understand you want to check out a specific pick, but as you can see, sir, I have 50 to 100 different vehicles here. I don't want to waste any of your time, so let's just go inside for a quick second, that way I can look at what the best pick might be for you. Something along that lines.
Yeah.
So use the weather. Like if it's really hot, be like, hey, I don't want you.
The weather's good. Yeah, I like that.
Rather than you being out in the hot sun, all sweaty, let's just go inside in the AC and.
Oh, I don't mind the hot. I'm from Alabama, Texas.
I'm from the South.
Yeah, so there's definitely a couple of different ways to tackle that. One is going to be lot size. quantity of cars there, which is a very simple. But the thing here is you're going to try twice, and then after the second time, just go with their flow. At that point, they're trying to take the lead. You're trying to take the lead too. At some point, with a really aggressive customer like that who doesn't want to go inside, and that's the type of customer right off the bat, they just don't want to go inside. You got to kind of give them the reins a little bit, just so they give you enough rope so you can choke them with it. So you just gotta you got to hey,
pause.
Just pause. Hey guys, I know you just want to look around. There's a bunch. There's some in the back too. It'd be a lot quicker if we just go inside. Let me narrow down. I'll actually pull it up for us, so that way we don't have to walk around. But hey, if you want to if you just want to walk around and see if anything catches your eye, I'm down for that too. Which one do you want to do? Yeah. And then they'll just kind of control that. So that's definitely a type of customer.
Or make them think they're in control. That's the whole idea.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, sir, if you want to be out here walking all day, no problem. I already got my steps in. But it's just
I don't know if I would say that. But
just frame it so that you're helping them. Like by going inside, you're making their life easier. Make it easier for them. Yeah. You frame it that way, like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it.
But also take a step back and realize that if a customer is coming in like that, there's a reason why they're acting like that. Either A, they really don't want to waste their own time. They don't want to waste the salesperson time. If they kind of brush with a customer like that, they'll walk toward the lot right away. If you're on point, you're going to go toward them and say, hey guys, how can I help you out today? Whatever your spiel is. And then they're either going to brush you off, or they're going to kind of let you walk with them, or they'll stop and engage you. So if they kind of let you walk with them, they're on the fence. If they just stop you right away, hey, we're just looking right now, cool. Don't be pushy. Be like, hey, well, there's a lot of cars here.
What if you take that out of their mouth and say like, hey guys, just doing a little bit of looking, maybe shopping today? Like, what if you start like that?
To me, that comes off as like you're qualifying them right off the bat, like within the first 2 seconds.
Well, because we know what they're going to say. They're going to say, I'm just shopping. I'm just looking around. Oh, I'm just looking. So I'm like, hey, just doing a little bit of looking today, right? What if you say that?
Well, it seems condescending. And
why does it say condescending? Because
it's like, hey, I get it.
I mean, that just may be the way I say it, but
it might work for you and your personality.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's different. That's for sure. So for me, I'm not going to try to qualify them. I'm not going to ask them. I'm still just trying to figure out why they're there for, right? And I'm not trying to figure anything out. I'm trying to just read them as a person, right? Did they walk directly toward the tundras? Because instead of saying, are we looking around today? I might say, it looks like you're looking for a tundra. Did you have a trim level in mind or something like that? Like, which one were you looking for? I'm trying to figure out what their body language is telling me. So
sometimes I'll be like, what you looking for? And they're like, I don't know. That's why I'm looking. All right.
So if they walk away from you, or like they're just like, oh, well, we're just looking right now. The best thing you can do is kind of, I'm not going to say try one more time to, hey, are you sure you don't need any help? No, we're just looking right now. Okay, well, if you do need help, I've got the key to all these cars. So at this point, you want to look inside something, I'm going to be standing right over there. Just come grab me. I want to help you guys out however I can. Okay, cool. And then just back off, because that's a defensive customer. So that is a type of customer that you can read right off the bat as soon as they go. Just like someone who walks in right away, hey, I'm here to test drive this car. You know what I mean? The complete polar opposite of spectrum of car buying from the other person. But some people, you got to think that person has a bad experience at a car dealership. That's why they're acting like that.
I mean, so if we know that, what if we play like the card that way and just be like, hey, sir, like, I know that like sometimes salesmen are flies out here. I already hit my goals this month, so I'm not really going to press you into anything. Like, I mean, you could try that angle too.
You want to have that. It's just unnecessary.
You want to have that energy, but not say that.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I mean? You want to have that, oh, cool, I'll help you out if you need help. Let me know.
Yeah, I've definitely
never said that before. You want to see the inside one of these cars.
So what I used to do is I'd give him my business card, because it happens where
I hate business cards.
No, but it works when they get a customer like that.
Just whenever, because that way.
In that situation,
and I've had salespeople say, "Hey, your customer is asking for you," and I'm like, "What customer?" And then I remember, it's the guy that didn't want to talk to me earlier because he has my business card.
That's smart.
Yeah.
So
I've had a lot of customers who said, "I really like you as a salesperson because you're not pushy." So in those situations, I won't bring him in sometimes. I'll give him the card. Whenever you're ready, let me know. Give me a call. I'll help you out.
That's the only way to play.
If you want to see
the
inside,
never buy.
They do. Maybe not 100%, but I guess 60%, 70%. And so I say, hey, if you want to see inside one of the cars, let me know. I'll get the keys. I'll help you out. You have my number. Let me know.
Okay. No, but you always want to get something from them, whether it's an email or phone
their
number.
social.
You don't want to be the guy that just gets, hey, you've been wonderful. Call me, whatever, and then never hear from them. You want to have something where
ideally, right? But it depends on the aggressiveness of the customer and how defensive they are. Yeah. If they're super defensive and I can see they're very standoffish, I'm good. All right, cool, no problem. Here's my card. If you need help, let me know. I'll help you out. And I'll walk away.
Yeah,
that's it.
The situation that what he's doing is, I agree with Jacob, because I'm giving them the room to do whatever they want to do. I can already tell they're being so defensive that they don't want help right now.
Yeah.
When they do need help, they're going to come back to Jacob because they got his car, and they're going to go back to the front. Hey, I was talking to this guy. When they see something they like, and at that point they do that, it's like 60%. It's a coin flip if it's a deal or not because they've found something on their own.
But I've had customers say that, and I slowly just inch my way closer to a car deal.
That's
Hey, I'll let you guys roam around, but I guess while I'm out here, like, do you want like directions on like what certain car you're looking for? You're looking for an SUV? You're looking for a certain used vehicle? Oh, you are? It's gonna be that way. And then boom, like all of a sudden you've kind of entered your way into a conversation, and you're walking with them. Next thing you know, they're driving out the lot.
I think, it all just depends on how defensive the customer is, right? So I'll do the same thing, obviously, but if they're super defensive, I want to be that guy that they feel comfortable buying the car from, because I'm not going to push them into something they don't want.
Right.
But it's all customer.
And again, we're just going over different types of customers.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to talk over a lot of different situations.
Yeah.
You're always going to try to help them, right? You're always going to try to get more information, like Don's saying. You're always going to want to not be pushy. Once the third time you try, it's just obvious, hey, they don't want help right now. So, and then another one.
I got a customer quick. Going back to the types of customers, I've noticed that if it's a full family coming in with young kids, that's probably a deal. Like if it's the mom, the dad, and the two kids who are like 2 or 3, you don't want to bring the kids in. I feel like for me,
we're not gonna bring ethnicity into this, but it depends.
That is true. That is true.
I don't even like this question though, to be real, because I do feel like, in a sense, you're still judging like based off the type of interaction that you're having. I don't care.
No, I don't care
if
either.
a dude has a peg. I don't care if it's a family. I don't care if it's a wheelchair van.
Which goes to what you said earlier, something about like, is there picking and choosing? You're gonna take everything that.
I mean, of course, we all judge. Everybody judges.
Just for your own, like, for people who are listening to this, right? They don't sell cars, and even if there are people who are listening to this, they can pick our brains and figure out, okay, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
You're gonna take every opportunity you can. If you're just an animal, you're a jaguar, and you're killing every animal you see. You're not scared of a certain type. So that family might be like a pack of, I don't know, coyotes or something. You're just like, don't like that in your mind. Some people just have a fear of like those kids. Definitely, there are salespeople who see all the little kids and stuff, and they just like don't want that customer. They try to avoid.
No, I see a deal. If I see a lot of little kids, that's a deal for me.
I'll reach and grab the coloring books. Get busy.
So when you're being an animal, like you gotta take everything you can kill. But this is just so you can kind of. There are different type of customers. You're gonna realize this. How do you handle them? I'll say there's a duo. There's like a father-son duo that never buys. If you see a guy come in with his like teenage son or something, they almost never buy. It's crazy. You see it all the time. Oh yeah, we're looking at just a truck, or oh, he's checking out Supras today. Like it's almost like you gotta think about it. Like,
come on, son, let's go look at cars.
Buying a car for my son. Looking at he's 13. Looking about 2 years from now. All right, cool. Victor, help you out.
I don't mind.
Victor, how do you deal with those?
When people, I've had instances where they do buy, and it's just a matter of if you're the right salesperson. I mean, it sounds cheesy and cliche, but you say that like, yeah, father duo, son duo, it just depends.
Yeah, it does depend. But
I think for all these situations,
it depends. All of this stuff depends. There's tons of scenarios, but the answer to every single type is help them as best as you can. And then we'll go over how to build rapport with them and all that stuff later on. But just things that you're going to notice that you're going to, after like selling cars for 5 or 6 months, and then you hear this, like, yeah, definitely anyone who sells cars who has been selling cars for more than 3 months already probably resonates with like half the stuff we've said. Because they're like, yeah, the father-son, that definitely happens. I see it all the time. And I just, as an observer, someone who's just watching, like, man, they're definitely not buying a car today. I mean, those are the voices you got to fight in your head, of course, when you're helping them. But yeah, so that's just another type. Any other types you want to kind of go over, or did that come to anyone's mind?
Well, whenever it's a female by herself,
that's definitely a type. Those always buy. I don't know. That's a high percentage.
Because you always hear the thing like she's mostly 80% of the time she's a decision maker. So going back to the guy with the son,
we live in a world full of simps.
Oh, okay. When it's piggybacking on the father-son, like, yeah, the guy maybe is kind of 50-50, but the wife is like, no, you better wait till I'm off work or whatever. But whenever it's by herself, she kind of already said, hey man, I'm already doing this. I'm going for it, and it's my decision to do it. So
different scenario. So like if it's a single woman by herself,
she's definitely buying. because
For
she's
sure.
a decision maker, and she can't be like, oh, I'm talking to my husband. Like, no.
I mean, I get those too, and they're like,
yeah, you
I need
get
to talk
those,
to the
50-50
husband.
no matter what. In those scenarios, you just, again, like all scenarios, all customers, no matter what they look like, color, skin, race, whatever, you treat them the best you can. You try to help them. You're trying to figure out, hey, how am I going to help this person? What are they here for?
Right.
You're also going to get like the cross shoppers, which I've written down, like cross shoppers. So people who right away tell you like, hey, I'm checking out a RAV4, comparing it to, I'm going to stop by at like 3 other dealerships. This is my first stop. This is my first stop. That's what they say. This is my first stop. Or this is my second stop. We've been out here all day.
Hey, so real quick, let's do this then. This is my first stop. How do you handle that objection, Jacob? Hold on, don't say anything. This is my first stop. How do you handle that?
Cool. Let's find a car you like. So I'd find a pick
But
first.
let's just say we're on the
No.
pencil. Let's just say we're on the numbers. And they go, hey, man, I appreciate you. I really like this car, but listen, man, I've never bought it my first stop for 10 years.
Can you explain
We're
what a
getting
first?
so off topic.
Okay,
Right
my
now. This
bad.
is totally
I
off
just-
topic. that is a conversation to have, and the answer is this: it's different for everyone. So
Yeah.
let's say you're on the. Let's
Jacob was ready,
let's
though.
cha-
Jacob
yes,
was
he was
ready.
ready, and I'll give him the chance to answer. But
Yeah.
we're gonna change the scenario to not the
Okay.
pencil.
Yeah.
But they just walk up to you and they
Okay.
say, "Hey
'Cause,
guys,
yeah,
this is my first
you
time,"
do
because that
that.
happens all the time.
Have you explained what a pencil is before
Well,
you?
they'll know.
we
They
can
will
get
know
to
what
that
to talk
next-
later.
yeah,
That doesn't
later.
matter.
They can
Okay,
Google
so a customer gets out of their car.
Yeah.
They say, "Hey Jacob, I'm gonna check out a RAV4, but just so you know, this is just my first stop."
Cool. Awesome. Let's check it out.
Okay,
That's it. So
Yeah, at some
super
point.
non-pushy, non-aggressive. Cool. Let's check it out. Let me help you out. And then once we start driving the car, do they like it? Do they love it? Get to numbers. But the first thing I'm doing is great. Awesome. I don't care. That's awesome. Cool. I'm not going to try to make them
Yes.
feel like they have to buy a car today for me. First stop. Cool. Awesome. I can help you.
Boom.
I'm gonna brush it off.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I don't think it's really not a place where you want to fight really any objection, really.
So I'm actually pretty funny about it when I get that.
Yeah.
So when someone comes up to me and they're like, "Hey, so yeah, I'm just looking around for it. Just so you know, this is just my first stop." And I would say, "Hey, okay, cool. So if you love it, I'll probably make it your last stop too." Or something like that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm
I
very
was gonna
cocky.
say
And customers,
it.
Is
yeah,
that
customers,
cocky though? I don't think that's cocky.
It's
I
confident.
think it's just having
confident,
fun.
Just
but-
how you say it. Right?
Yeah,
confidence
right. You're just
Yeah.
saying like, hopefully I can make it your last stop. Or
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
you know, I'm the best salesperson
So-
here. So it probably is going to be your last stop. And I will literally tell people that, and
Yeah.
it works so much.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
even
So
funny.
one salesman told me one time, he's like, "Hey, whenever you go shopping anywhere, you don't go shopping at the most expensive store first, right?"
Unless you want something.
I mean,
Expensive.
I'm saying like
You sell cars, you do.
anybody that goes anybody that shops anything, you do your research, which is about 80% of the people nowadays, and they go to the first place that has the cheaper price as the first stop. So for somebody to say, "Oh, I'm just looking," or this is my first stop," well, technically, we're probably the better price out of all of them because you're here first. You know?
Yeah, when they're comparing to similar brand, yes, that's
Yeah.
true. And that's also the
I mean,
beautiful thing.
I'm doing what probably Jacob said. Cool, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that's
No.
definitely the
It may
way
not
to
be
go.
the best. It's something. There's some reason why they're coming there. It may not be the best price. It may be the best trim or the color. But finding that reason and unlocking on that and being non-pushy with
Or
it.
they're just comparing like models, like SUVs, etc. There's a ton of different scenarios. They could
Well,
go
the
in a bunch
next
of different
well, the next
ways.
dealership's an hour away, so have fun driving to the next one.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't dodge that. People have done that. It is crazy, but it happens a lot.
Yeah. So if you're watching this podcast, you're obviously
Which is
trying
the
to be a
whole
high
entire
level
world.
guy, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be a high level guy. You're already in the right place. You got that most high level salespeople talking to you right now.
Exactly.
So the correct way to do this would be nonchalant about it, acknowledge it, but again, there's not a right answer here. What you're actually doing is you're listening to their body language. You're if they said that, it's because they might be defensive. Maybe they just want a little bit of space, or maybe they just feel like, hey, I just want to let this guy know I don't want a lot of pressure. That's just a feeler. That's really just a feeler statement, right? Like, hey guys, just so you know, Jacob, this is just my first stop, by the way.
Imagine if
when I
you're
buy
like,
cars,
oh my gosh.
No.
yeah, and that's what they're looking for. That is, it's almost like they're
know.
testing
And
you, and then when you react like that,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh my, and dude,
Even if you
salespeople
don't say
cannot
it, yeah.
control their face.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to control your face. If you can't control your face, you can't
Yeah.
control your emotions. You'll
Yeah.
kill the rapport. You'll kill the
Yep.
deal right there. Right.
You don't have to say anything.
They
Just the way they
smell
see
it.
you, they
They-
smell it.
they smell
and so,
it,
and so
dude.
it's kind of a cycle. Like when you get better and you sell more cars, you generally don't care. Like, cool, awesome, let me help you out. But if you're hungry and you have 2 cars, 3 cars, 5 cars, you're like, all right, cool, let me show you this car. You know, we're just like, all right, cool, no
You're just
problem.
trying to. If you take it, it's like, oh, let me just get this out of the way. Yeah, that's when everything backfires. Those are just
Because they can feel that. I always say, I'm not trying to sell the person the car. I'm trying to make it easy for them to buy the car. I think that's the key. Is because if you try to sell someone a car, people don't want to be sold a car. They don't want to be sold a product. They want to buy something they want that has value from someone they like.
Yeah.
Right?
Clip that. Clip that, Robert.
So again, cross shoppers. So I guess the point that we're getting to is this: every single customer is going to be slightly different. So treat them all the same. Try to bring them inside, do the right thing, and then also you're going to tailor what you're saying to these customers and how you're acting, like to each individual's case. Because you see how every time we bring up a topic, there's like 20 what ifs and stuff.
So
like
I guess what would be like three, to summarize it, like three things you should do with all customers first interaction?
Smile, tell them your name,
Give them a kiss on
Eye
the cheek.
contact. Eye contact for sure.
and try to be genuine as possible. I would
Genuine,
say.
yeah. I think a lot of people get the car industry or sales in general kind of mixed up in this idea that everyone's a dog and they're manipulative and they're cheating, lying, and stealing. It's like, well, they
We
used to
are,
be,
but
we are right now. But it's like, I think that all of us here do well because we are pretty genuine with the customers. Like, I'm not trying to cheat them or lie to them or manipulate them. There's some things that are intellectually tactical, I guess would
For
be
sure.
a way to say
Right,
it. But
yeah.
but I genuinely try to give them the best deal and me the best deal. So like, what's the best medium? Because morally it can eat at you.
Or how do you make them feel like they're getting the best deal without giving any money away?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's different for every scenario for sure. But if you treat a customer well, you get to know them. That's half the battle.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Rapport.
yeah. Report.
If someone pays sticker price for a vehicle, and this was before COVID, because again, I've sold cars way before COVID, before the car shortage and stuff like that, and people still bought at sticker. You don't have to feel any type of way about that. That is completely fair. That's a fair deal. People
Right.
feel like, hey, am I getting a fair deal right now? Do I like Robert? Do I like Don? Do I like Jacob? You know what I mean? Was Victor good to me today? If you can win that battle, that's half of it. The
Yeah.
pricing and everything.
Right.
Customers they're going to negotiate if they want to. So the pricing and stuff
Yeah.
like that, I think you're right. People do kind of have these reservations. So that's like your number one job as a salesperson, to kind of back them off of that and humanize yourself.
And don't take
Yeah.
it personal if sorry, Victor, don't take it personal if someone asks for a discount or it's a fight, it's a negotiation, it's a battle. Whenever I'm negotiating numbers or kind of doing the hard work, negotiating, I don't take it personal if someone wants money off, if we discount the
Because they're
vehicle.
hooked.
I say, hey, that's your money. I even tell customers, that's your money, protect your money. I would do the same thing. They hear that and they say, oh, this guy's like being like real. He's being honest. And that saves me a lot of money.
Yeah, well, you gotta understand, profit is not a dirty word, and you gotta also let them know, like, hey, I understand, but the reason why this is priced the way it is because we're a business. We're not a charity, and it sounds aggressive, but yeah, profit is not a dirty word. I get it. They were trying to tell them, hey, save your money, whatever, but hey, this is when value exceeds price. That's when they play, and if they play, you've already won the battle because you get the customer that doesn't want to play, then you got nothing. Those people are already playing with you, talking about price. Hey, I got you. You're hooked. You're engaged. So that's when you got like the bigger end of it.
See, I feel like that puts you as the enemy still, though. Like that frame, that mindset makes them still think this person's trying to make money off of me, which you are. And if they're really logical about it, then they'd agree with you. But most customers aren't that logical. They're more emotional with it,
Emotion does play a big part. I say
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
Yeah.
So I guess the next topic that we'll kind of talk about, since we kind of went into pre and then also just different types of customers, your main goal is obviously to sell a car, right? But your number one goal is to humanize yourself. I kind of said it earlier, right?
Yeah.
So that's half the battle. So when you're talking to a customer, again, think about it from their perspective. They're there for a reason, like almost like you were saying. You almost kind of brought it up, and I was gonna transition into that then.
Yeah.
How you're saying, okay, there's a reason why they're at their dealership, right? It's no one goes to dealerships for fun. No one does.
Yeah.
There's a couple people who they want to check.
I've talked to a couple of those people. Trust me.
Yeah, okay. A majority of people who are serious buyers or just in general, they're at the dealership for a reason. You don't drive around looking at houses for just because you want to see what's on sale. And that's the beautiful thing about working at a car dealership. Half the work's already done for you. They're just there to buy a car. They also have this like mindset, in their head of the salesperson, right? So you're trying to break that mold from like step one, which is why all the things that we were talking about earlier, right? Be genuine, like I said, those three things. Then how do you react to people?
Yeah.
So humanizing yourself is probably the most important thing you can do in sales because that's half the battle. Like you're saying, like if they're asking for price, well, that's great. You landed them on the right car.
Yeah. I think a good question to ask yourself is, would you enjoy buying a car from yourself? Not would you buy a car from yourself, but would you enjoy buying a car from yourself?
process, yeah.
And if the answer isn't an absolute yes, Ask yourself, why is it not yes? And work on those points.
Yeah, I think one of the things and that goes perfectly with, how I kind of view myself. One of the very first tipping points when I realized like I'm really good at this is I went on a test drive. I was selling Dodges. I was on a Charger. These people drove down from, I believe Killeen. It was like a military family, just a husband and wife. They're kind of younger.
Was it a Camaro?
It was a Charger. It was a Charger. And we're driving by, and they mentioned on the and this is very early on, Robert, where all right, let me just get to the next step. Let me get to the next step. Let me get to the next step. I'm on the test drive. He mentions he's hungry. They're like, oh, we're kind of hungry. Might eat later, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, you know what? There's this really good sub shop in Round Rock called Hoodie Subs. It's amazing. Have you guys been there? Like, no. It's like, let's just stop by there real quick. They're like, they just kind of looked at each other like, really? And I was like, no, totally. I'll pay for it. Not a big deal. I'll just use the company card. And it was my money, but I told them it was a company card. They're like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, let's go. I sat there and ate with them. And then before we started eating, the husband asked me, like, do you want to pray first? And I was like, sure, let's pray. Prayed. Came back, so this test drive turned into like an hour endeavor. Like, the sub was amazing. If you live in Round Rock or Austin, go to Hoodie Subs. It's amazing. They're not sponsoring us, but they're amazing. It is amazing sub place.
Hoodie Subs.
Point being, I come back, tell my desk manager, I was like, hey, I just want to test drive with them. They really like the Charger. They're a little bit iffy about it. I took him out to lunch. He goes out there and takes a turn on him. His name is Chris Carson. He's like, was the best sales manager ever. Taught me tons of closing techniques. Like, just watching him alone was just crazy. Wealth of knowledge. Anyhow, we end up selling him the Charger. He comes back up to me. He's like, man, you really took him to go get some subs? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you know what, Robert? I'd buy a car from you. And that's kind of what you have to keep in mind, man. Like, you got to be a likable person. Like, you got to want to buy a car. When you're buying a car from someone, even though it's not a relationship you're going to build with them, like, you're not going to invite this guy to your birthday party. I think I said that on the first.
I like that you say that because, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I'm just trying to practice the transitions.
No, you're straight. No,
I like that you say that because I will also buy my customers food. And at the store that I work at, can I say we?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, at the store that we work at, we conveniently have a food truck. And so it's almost easier to buy people food there. And
if it was open after 3,
yeah, I bought customers food, and guess what? All the salesmen, oh, you better hope they buy for you. I definitely wouldn't buy their food. Like, dude, that's why you're sitting in the corner.
Yeah, that's why you're weak.
Like, yeah, I'm just like, but
props to you, man, because that's
I've never on a test drive though. I've never gone on a test drive.
That, and this is off topic. That, and if they ever bring up, I'm gonna have to show. There's a missing equation. Always offer. Always offer. Hey, you know what?
Let's go there.
Where is he at? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's probably like 15, 20 minutes away. Let's just go there now. He's going to want to look at it. He's like, really? Yeah. And I just did that like last month.
We can have a whole episode of what to ask on the test drive, pretty much.
Oh, for sure.
On asking,
yeah.
Like,
The key is just making those small gestures that are authentic and genuine and building rapport and humanizing yourself. It takes you so far, whether that's buying the food or taking a customer to go visit the mom or the dad, their second buyer or whatever. Getting them a coffee from the coffee machine. Like, those small things, it makes you a human. And so when you get to numbers, they don't see you as a devil. They see you as a person who's doing a job.
Okay, so humanize yourself. People are watching the podcast, great information. So let's delve into that. What do you ask to humanize yourself, right? So if you guys want to chime in, please do. I'm just going to cover one thing, and then we'll kind of just rotate if anything comes to your mind. So to humanize yourself, you have to ask good questions, right? That's how you're going to be separating yourself from all the other salespeople, shedding this like sales image off of you, slowly uncovering this like little sales guy persona that they have of you. So the first question that I'll always ask them is, it's funny you say that on the test drive, and that's when I completely humanize myself, is on the test drive. The very first thing I ask them is where they're from. Are you guys from the area?
Yeah.
Just so I know if I need to tell them where to go, so they'll be familiar with the test drive route, but it's also, you're kind of just getting to know what area are they from. That's the number one thing for me, because once a customer tells you that information, it's like they're just giving up a little bit of themselves, and that's something close to them, and that often leads to other questions as well. But that's to me the number one most important thing. So what is another question that you can ask? Looks like Jacob has something to say.
Yeah, not necessarily a question, but there's like two things that I think I do well that humanize me. One is that the tone that I use isn't very salesy. Whether it's on the phone or talking to people, I hear some people say, "Hey, welcome to hey, it's a great day here. Hey, can I help you? How are you doing? My name is Jacob. How can I? I'll assist you.
We have to bleep that one out.
Oh yeah, my bad.
All right, continue.
Bleep. Yeah, but like when I talk to customers, I talk, hey, how are you? Can I help you out? Awesome, cool. Like it's the tone's super not monotone, but just laid back. And I'm not salesy. For some people it works and it works well. For me though, like I don't want to hear that if I'm buying a car or I'm buying a product. I want to hear a guy that I want to talk to a person, not to a sales bot. You know what I mean?
See, to me, I kind of feel like I'm the other side of the spectrum.
You do it well though.
I like to be excited.
Yeah.
Thank you, dude. Dude, let's just hug right now. Not just
I'm
I kind of.
They're humanizing.
No, I do like to be excited because like I feel like you really can push excitement into people, and for somebody like, and obviously like person to person, like I feel like we say this 1,000 times, but it does vary. But if I have someone like you that comes in, like I may want to match your energy, or I may just find like that sweet spot to where I can have fun.
You have to match your energy.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be a chameleon. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Bars. That's facts.
No, you have to be a chameleon. And you hear it all the time. You got to be a reflection of that customer because they're not going to buy from you if you're not matching their energy. And you think it's very cheesy and cliche, but it's a thing. It does happen. You know, I get some geeky person that likes Pokemon, and I can go all over. I've sold cars to so many geeks because I'm a freaking geek, you know? So you got to be reflective of that customer.
Do you have a question?
I don't have a question.
Do you have a question to throw out there to help dehumanize yourself?
Dehumanize myself.
Yeah.
Man, I'm thinking about Pokemon now.
Yeah.
There's so many, and they're just all generic. You know, just come back to me. I don't have anything right now.
Anyone else have anything to add as far as questions?
And this is like questions on a test drive, right?
So this is like, okay,
Is
So
it questions to humanize yourself or just ways to humanize yourself?
Questions.
They have ways.
Questions.
to do
I don't
it.
even-
I mean, both.
questions.
I mean,
wait, we'll go over ways next. We'll go
Yeah.
over like a general, because we'll go over a general explanation of everything next.
And so this is like specific questions that
This is
we're
like,
asking.
as sales guys watching this right now, trying to pick our brains, or someone who's brand new, like, man, I don't know what to ask on the test drive. I'm getting really nervous. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
like, all right, take it right here. You're trying to think of things to say. So
I think it's based on the customer. If they say, "Oh, I went to UT. Oh, what'd you study?" Or, "Oh, I used to live in Hawaii. How was Hawaii?" Or, "Oh, I have 6 kids. What is it like having 6 kids?" So I find points that they seem passionate about, whether they went to school, their family, their wife, their kids. I find something that they mention that has some energy behind it, and I ask questions about that thing. So I don't really have specific questions I ask.
I have a good one actually. And this is like, this works well for really anybody, right? Because everybody has someone that they're close to. And so like, this is like the one thing that I would say in a test drive that may be like, I'm already knowing that I'm going to say is like, hey, who's your first person you're going to show this to?
that's a good
Right.
one.
That's a
Because
good one.
you're
Like that a lot.
the customer at that point is now envisioning them being in that car, taking it home, or let's just say they go on a lot of vacations. Oh man, what do you think this would be like taking this to Colorado up the mountains? You think it would do good? Yeah, dude, this thing would do awesome. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know what I mean? So
That's a good
I
one.
think envisioning making the customer envision what it's going to be like when they take it to show their significant other or their family member or to the Colorado mountains. You put their head away from the test drive and actually incorporate it into their daily life.
yeah, that's.
So-
I mean, you asked how does that dehumanize you though?
humanize.
human-
Or
humanize, you keep saying.
humanize you. Sorry. I mean, that's like a closing statement. It's not more.
Is that a
of
close?
It's a trial close.
It's a trial close. It's
a
not
trial
a.
close.
It's
Damn,
a
bro, when are we
humanized-
going to get to the trial close objections episode?
Hey, it's similar. It brings them the idea that
Yeah.
you care about them in some capacity, and it kind of warms them up.
I mean,
And then you're also getting to know a little bit
there's
about their
nothing-
family member, whoever they bring up.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, and nothing I say on the test drive is really like scripted besides like a trial close like that. Everything is just like me
You
being
wing it.
nonchalant. Like the test drive is one of the only spots where I'm not like, woo, like just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's one spot that I chill. I do turn the radio on a little bit.
So
and then-
you bring a good point in that some people don't want to hear you at all.
right.
They want to do that a test drive.
Everybody wants to hear me, Vic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've always been very quiet on the test drive, and
Yeah,
when
me
I've trained other people who like, you know, sometimes someone will shout at you, I'll literally text them like, "Don't say anything on this test drive,"
Yeah.
because I'm feeling them out. I'm listening for certain things. The test drive is so important for so many reasons, but the number one reason is because, listen to this. This is gold. This is gold. The number one reason is because when someone's test driving a vehicle, they know this is the moment before they're about to buy it. So any doubts they have in their mind will start to surface on the test drive. So that's why during the test drive, the number one question you'll get a lot is, so what are your guys' rates like right now, or something like that.
I
They will
love
ask
when I
that
start
on the
to hear
test
that.
drive because they're literally thinking like, they're thinking, okay, I'm about to buy this car right
Yeah.
now. What are some things I need to clear up? What is coming up? Like, oh, do you have this in red? Do you have this? Like, you will literally just need to sit back and listen to like, all right, cool. Let me see what's about to come to the surface right now.
Right.
That I'm about to pick up, and that will give you.
Okay,
a huge
I like
indicator.
that, but I don't like sitting in silence.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying
No,
conversation will
I
happen. I'm
see
saying
what
you're
you're saying.
listening more. But here's
Okay.
the second golden question right here. If a customer asks you during the test drive, how long have you been working there? And it will come up out the blue or
I
something.
get that
How long
all
have you
the
been working
time.
here? They are going to buy the vehicle, or they're like a 50.
Okay, why do you think
50.
customers say that?
It's human instinct to want to get to know the person that you're about to do business with. Like, I'm really considering spending $50,000 with this guy, Don.
Right.
How long have you been doing this? They want to know if you're like
I get that all the time.
all the time. Yeah, that's really like when you hear that question as a salesperson, your ears need to perk up a little bit and be like, all right, cool. Let me bring my A game right now because
Yeah.
this is about to be a car deal. If I'm on the right car right now, it's just down to the numbers, what I can do. Their perception of like where the deal's at may be way off, and then it's not a deal. But they are very, very seriously considering buying a car if they ask you, how long have you been at XYZ dealership for?
Okay, so what if I say 2 weeks? What do you think that does to the customer?
Don't say 2 weeks. Just say, actually, I just started. Before this, I was in the Army. Or in my scenario, that's what I would say. Then that gives you the opportunity
Right.
to like humanize yourself and be like,
Yeah.
so I just started. Before this, I went to school for automotive technology. And I was in the Army before that, so I decided, I didn't want to really be in the shop sweating, so I just decided, hey, I just want to sell the cars instead.
Yeah.
And that's like,
So-
that's like, I have that on the script.
I don't want to cut you off. I just did.
It's all good.
Piggybacking on the talking to customers when they get out of the vehicle and they don't want to talk to you or whatever. That what you just said is, or you said it is like I just started, or I'm the new guy here. You want to play that for as long as you can.
Dude, I ran that
The
for so
new
long.
guy, it's just like, hey, I'm new, I get it. I don't. For some reason, that gets the customer to be like,
It gets their defenses down. That's
I
why.
ran
They're
that
not,
for
they're
so
like,
long.
okay, this guy's not an absolute killer about to murder me in this car deal right now. That's why.
Yeah.
sorry. I just remember that. I'm like, wait, that's awesome. That's exactly what I used to do. Sorry, Robert.
When
Cut
people
you off.
ask me that question, how long I've worked there, I use that as an opportunity to frame the dealership as in a whole. So they say, hey, how long have you been working here? Oh, about 7 months, 8 months, whatever I say. And then, but I say, man, I wouldn't be doing it anywhere else. Like I was offered the job, be a car salesman. I was like, I don't want to be a car salesman. That sounds terrible. I don't have enough gold chains, and I'm not big enough. I'm not sleazy enough to be a car salesman. They're like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, man, I wouldn't be doing it anywhere else. The owner of this place and the way this place runs is different, and it really does on the employee side and the customer side. It's just different. And so they hear that, and I've already framed in their head that this is a different dealership. The way we do business is different.
So that could be a two-way thing, because if you've only done this for 7 months, how do you know this is the best place? How do you know there's no?
I don't,
Maybe you
I don't,
interviewed
but
at
they
a
don't-
couple spots.
Yeah, he's just saying
Yeah.
he's using it to the
I'm just saying,
customer, like getting the customers.
man, I never wanted to be a car salesman. That sounds terrible, right? They're like, yeah, right. I'm like, yeah, that sounds terrible. Like I don't have enough gold chains to sell cars. They're like, yeah, right.
Hey,
I'm like,
I
man,
had to bring one today.
I wouldn't be doing it anywhere else. Like I thought I wouldn't like it, but I love it. And they're like, all right, this guy loves his
I
job.
like that. I've never heard that.
And I
before.
say, man, on the customer side and the employee side, it's fantastic. And so they hear that, and in their head, they've reframed the entire dealership as like, maybe it's not that bad of a place. And so it takes the defenses down that one extra step.
That's really good.
So I pretty much
They're
always
like, yeah,
say
I
that.
love this dealership. They go and the tiles being moved out. There's like a dark corner office you get brought into. Nice.
So there's benefits to. I mean, this is why
Hopefully you work at a
Really?
nice
Yeah.
store.
Yeah, that
We'll have a-
helps. That helps a lot.
We'll have a whole episode, maybe episode 3, because maybe I should have done the episode 3 before this one. But how to pick a good dealership, we'll go over that. Not today, but
Well, there's
another time.
there's websites to see that, but
Anyways, what websites are?
I mean, isn't it Glasshouse? What is it
Glassdoor.
called? Glassdoor.
The only people who leave reviews on Glassdoor are
haters.
literally haters. So
Yeah.
don't.
Oh,
There's
that's
other
true.
things that we'll talk about. There's a lot of
Okay.
ways to find a good.
I've never
dealership
used it. I
in
just heard
person.
about it.
So, as you were saying, so the test drive is super important. When I'm asking questions, I'm actually baiting them to like ask about me too, and that's kind of how you're humanizing yourself. So when I ask them from the get go, in an ideal world, hey, you guys from the area? Oh yeah, we've been in Cedar Park for a while, or Austin for a while, or Houston, or wherever the area is that you work at for a while. Okay, awesome. Yeah, this place is growing like crazy, right? And you just kind of start a natural conversation like that, and then 90% of the time they're going to say, hey, what about you? Where are you from? And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get them to ask me stuff too. So it's a
Yeah.
two-way streak here.
Get them invested in you.
Yeah. You
I'll
just
have
wanna-
an old person on the test drive. I remember this used to be dirt roads back here.
We used to go hunting behind these woods.
So things you're trying to uncover, what area are they from? You know, if it wasn't from this area, which in a busy place like Austin or Dallas or something like that, a lot of people are constantly moving here. I'm going to ask, so what brought you here? You know, what brought you here? Oh, a job. Oh, what do you do for work? You know what I mean? So you're just piecing these things together. So you want to get to know where are they from. You know, if not this area, what brought them to this area? What do they do for work? There's another good question, which isn't awkward. Some people feel weird about that. Like, some people can feel weird about asking, like, oh, so what do you do for work? But it's actually like, so what do you do? You know what I mean? Just on the test drive.
I think as long as whatever question you ask, as long as it's nonchalant, they're gonna feel that energy, and they pick up on the energy more than the question. So just be laid back about it.
Yeah. So what do they do? And then I guess it's qualifying. You know, what are they going to do with the vehicle? Because obviously you want to paint the picture of them using the vehicle, use that in your advantage, like for why they need it and stuff like that. So, point being, you're going to want to be humanizing yourself. Those are some really good questions to ask. You're going to want to ask them, you know, where they're from, what they do for work. Tell them a little bit about yourself, ideally during the test drive or during the walk around or whenever the natural. You know, during the walk around is not a good time to do that because you're trying to sell them the product at that point.
Right.
Could it be, what did you, other than this car, what else do you drive? No, that would not be it, actually.
I mean, that's a question too. Hey, are you guys just adding to the fleet? Or are you guys planning on trading something in? I would ask that on the test drive as well. But some dealerships want you to do the trade appraisal before the test drive, so you'll have to figure out. You know, you'll figure that out a lot sooner. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else you guys really want to add to.
We need that Jeopardy music.
Just something to focus on, especially like with all these different types of customers. Something I just want to add in.
I have, I've done some
Victor
training.
just cuts me off completely.
No, no. I mean, my bad. I need to get. This is my first episode.
This is his first time on a podcast. What a loser! Right?
What a loser! I have no friends. The one thing I will say is that customers love to talk about themselves, and that's one thing I learned in certain trainings I've done. And customers love to talk about themselves, and that's the number one topic: is get to have the customer talk about themselves, and they'll let you sell themselves to you. And I guess that's just piggybacking on the test drive question.
Yeah. So just make sure that you guys are back to the
You were just asking what to add, so I'm just like, you add that, you know?
Okay, so for anyone else who's like listening to this, right? Basically, the point of today's episode is just to kind of get you like kind of thinking about, all right, cool. Now I'm at the dealership. What do I need to do? And we kind of talked about, you know, what to expect from, you know, the customers. Also, what kind of mindset to have while you're waiting for the customer, because there's only a few ways to sell a car. You're going to pick up the phone, answer a phone call, set an appointment. You're going to be up front. You're going to talk to someone and then sell them a car. Or the third one is getting a referral. Someone sends them to you. There's not many other ways to do it. So when you're first starting out at a dealership, you might not get a lot of phone calls at the dealership. You might not. So that's one thing that's always secondary to me. Like picking up the phone is always secondary. My very first and foremost thing when I'm brand new at a dealership and I have to build clientele, start all over, start a brand new pipeline again, is getting in front of people. That's the only way you're going to really build a pipeline. And just kind of keep that in mind, your mindset that you're having. I mean, you got to be up front and just have total disregard for everyone except for yourself. What I'll say is that at a car dealership, you're going to want to be around maybe 2 or 3 guys. You're going to find 2 or 3 guys who are really good at their job and kind of associate with them and try to not hang out with the losers at work.
My best friend right here.
So, because what you'll see is the guys who don't perform well, they
group together.
Hang out with other bums, like
get
high school.
coffee with Donovan. I don't know. You know
They go to lunch together.
They
all
get
the
in
time.
at 30 minutes late, drink coffee in the morning, you know. And
so from
And
get-go,
make friends with the service guys.
make friends with the service advisors, definitely. But from get-go, you're gonna just want and that's probably in life too, right? You hear it all the time on motivational stuff.
You
know
are
what I mean?
who you're around, right?
You are who you're around. So don't hang around losers at the dealership. Be more hungry than the
Don't
people
hang around
around
losers
you.
in general. Boss up.
True that.
After your first month, you're gonna have enough money to not need your friends anymore.
Listen, you can't save everyone, but just don't let people drag you down, or around the dealership or to lunch and shit like that. So keep that mindset. There's going to be different types of customers who pull up all the time. You know, you could listen to this podcast. It's just like we could go boom, 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 but there's just a ton of different situations. You're going to figure out how to handle that. And the key to that is with all these different types of people, you're going to bring them inside and then do a proper needs assessment, right? You're going to, whatever objections they give you right off the bat, hey, I'm just looking at this one. Hey, I just want to look right now. Just so you know, this is my first stop. Ultimately, you're going to bring them inside, figure out why they want this vehicle, what do they want, and then be humanizing yourself throughout that whole process. And like Jacob was saying, hey, I'm always building rapport. That's the number one most important thing, if not landing them on the right car and listening and asking good questions. So we're going to delve into that in a later episode, like how to properly qualify someone and how to land them on the right car, best practices, good questions to ask, stuff like that. And that's subject to what dealership you work at, of course. But I think that kind of wraps up, just your first interactions. Unless you guys can think of anything else topic-wise.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm just like,
all right, guys, we're just going to wrap this up now. We kind of talked about everything we're going to, which was just their first impressions of customers, how to humanize yourself a little bit and what to expect, when you're sitting there waiting for a customer. Thanks for stopping by and listening to the SalesEther podcast. If you haven't, check out the YouTube. It's a lot more entertaining to actually watch us. And also check out the website, SalesEther.com. I think the next episode will delve a little bit into qualifying customers, something like that. We'll figure it out. But either way, thanks for stopping by. And next time, we'll do something good.
Cool.
Either way, peace.
See ya.
Muchas gracias. There's a closed caption coming up in Spanish.
Yes, please sponsor us.